Hello Zoom audience, Zaudience as I prefer to call you. We think we're funny. I know I am. You wonder how? It's simple. Wherever I go, people point at me and laugh. So what else binds us together? The COVID. And I've not really been bothered that much by lockdown, but what I have missed is a really good car boot sale. The first time we did a car boot sale, we packed the car up the night before, and then we went out in the hours of darkness. It was the early hours, and we drove to a field. We saw some cars in the distance, and as we slowed down to park near them, loads of people surrounded the car. They were jostling for space. They were peering in like this, trying to see what they could see. One of them even tried the door. I thought my husband had finally given in and taken my dog in. I've had three husbands. I threw one out. He was controlling, he was alcoholic. But you know what? I missed him. I did. I missed him on special days, days like bin day. Because when you're a single mum, you have no one to share things with. Well, you have no one to share the chores with. And on Instagram, everyone has these like perfect houses, don't they? And it's really hard to keep up with. I have to clean my white minimalist bathroom so often that I've got one of them charts outside that says last checked at. And we laughed at the 70s decor, didn't we? But that was the real female liberation. Patterned Axminster carpet, you wouldn't see anything on that, would you? Brown floral wallpaper, no sticky fingers there. So them hipsters who've got the vintage houses, they're not actually being retro and trendy, they just don't want to do any housework, and I don't blame them. I swear there is a portal straight into my house where people come just to drop washing. I spend so long knelt in front of my washing machine, there's a hole, a groove in the floor. The floor is quarry tiled. Anyway, I decided to strip the beds, and like I've not got enough to do, I thought I'd do the duvets. Now, you know how big a duvet is. So I'm stood in front of the washer with the duvet, and I looked at the duvet, and I looked at the washer, and I looked at the duvet. I thought, fuck it, I'm going to have a go. So I'm doing this, and to my surprise, it slides in easily when suddenly I thought, this must be what fisting's like. You think it's not going to go anywhere, and then you're in elbow deep. I scare myself how I think, right? Scare myself. Is it my age? Is it me? I don't know who I can ask because everyone I work with is younger than me, to the extent that they think anyone over 30 is like an alien species anyway. Point in fact, right? At Christmas we had a quiz. It was a lot like University Challenge. What I hear you say, 8 virgins and a condescending wanker? Well, yes. And anyway, there was a topical question. How old is Father Christmas? It was multiple choice. There was 77, 73, 85, 69 and 50. All a bit generous given how long he's been about. Anyway, the overwhelming majority came up with 50. 50! He's got a long white beard. Though to be fair, so too have I now. Whenever you're in groups of women, one of the conversations you always end up having is about hair removal, and they talk about depilation and epilation and waxing. And I never joined in these conversations because I wasn't particularly hirsute. I was that other word, smug. But what I didn't know was that my body was saving up its hair growing energy so that when I got to 40, I could grow whiskers. Not cat whiskers, though that'd be so useful for knowing if I could get through the railings in the park. No, I was there one day looking pensive. Oh, what the hell is that? Get me tweezers. Well, these aren't like normal hairs. Oh no, they're strong and they're long. Get hold of one of them bad boys. You're like a magician pulling hankies out your sleeve. It's like unravelling dental floss. The only thing I'd ever done really was pluck my eyebrows. I was a teenager in the 80s and looking like Frida Kahlo wasn't de rigueur then. So anyway, a threader opened in my town. I'd always fancied it. John Lewis, 17 quid, down the road a fiver, no competition. So off I go and I'm lay there and she's threading quite happily. When suddenly she said, I can do your whole face for you if you want. What a selling technique, because I wasn't going to go, you're all right, love, I'll walk out of here feeling like Chewbacca. So there I was, handing over what remained of my dignity and another 25 quid. Women just should not have body hair, right? It's not fair. A few years ago, sat at the tea table, my children were really young, and pubic hair came up, not like a furball or anything. And we were, my tiny little daughter at the time said, oh mummy, I didn't know that ladies had pubic hair. And I said, oh yes darling, but we keep ours neat and tidy. At which point my boy, then 11, said, Brazilian, eh, Mum? I went, you are. He went, you know, all off. Now, I could have found out at that juncture where he got that snippet of info, but instead I said, I think you'll find that's a Hollywood, son. They know too much too soon. When I was at school, we were dead innocent. Just before lockdown, I went to a school reunion. I don't know if anyone's been to one. They're surreal, right? Everyone looked exactly the same. So much so that when the last orders bell went, I thought it was time for biology. Anyway, there was this lad following me around, and he said to me, I've got to tell you something. He said, at school, you were my pin-up. I loved you for like 5 years, but I never did anything about it. I was oblivious to this. So he says, I still think about you now, and to get closure, will you come outside and give me a blowjob? I know, outside on a cold winter's night. I said, what's wrong with the disabled toilet down the corridor? That said, at my age, once you get down on your knees, you're not getting back up again very fast. So what I've done is I've invited him round. He can stand by the washer, and then in true mum style, I can do more than one job at once. Thank you very much. You've been a wonderful audience. I've been Johanna Wroe.